Hey folks, D-Swizzle here, and
Anderson.
Yeah, we're about to head out to Chapel in the Pines to show you how to build a not-so-campy campfire the Susque way. Keep up. Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed that ride all the way out here to Chapel in the Pines. It's a beautiful location out that way, yeah, with a cool view of pine trees and some other trees around here. A lot of black birch and hemlock around here. You guys know black birch and hemlock are my favorite two trees in the entire world. So we've got our materials ready to start building a fire. We've got some newspaper. The newspaper is going to act as tinder. Tinder, if you've watched any other videos of mine, tinder is small enough that if you touch a match to it, it'll light almost instantly. So like really fine stuff, even little twigs like this could probably act as tinder too if you're making an actual campfire. And then even though we are going to use some kerosene in the end, we do have some kindling here. It's just going to really help make sure that the fire actually gets going. The kindling transitions nicely from tinder to our bigger fuel sized wood. This is the stuff that's going to sustain the fire for a long time. All right, let's get to building. I've got probably 15 to 20 pieces of fuel here. I'm going to start by grabbing 3 pieces that are all of like size height. I'm going to 3, maybe grab the next 3 as well. I'm going to build a couple courses or rows of large logs as a base. I'm going to sort through these. Here we go. I think I'll be happy with these. Now this first step, you can do it 2 ways. We need this fire to burn. This is for closing chapel for Young Explorers Camp. We need it to burn for like 20 to 30 minutes, so I'm not going to go super crazy big. In fact, I'm even going to put this one away because this one will burn for a long time. We don't need that. So I'll get a smaller one there. I'm going to start with a base by making a triangle with these logs all end to end. If I were making a bigger fire, or if I were making like a campfire, maybe to have like a really long-winded hot dog or marshmallow roast over, I would make this a square probably. But this is going to go kind of quickly, so I'm going to do a triangle. Some people make log cabin campfires. This is a log fort. And because, you know, it's Camp Susque, it's a triangle. How cool is that? Just like the emblem. So I'm going to do, now I'm going to transition to some of my smaller pieces. Maybe more, I should describe them as medium size. I'm going to make one more row or course of this triangle. Now it is important, I want this to be level and steady. In the end, I want my fire to collapse in on itself, not out. I should also mention beforehand, I tried to prep this fire ring a little bit by blowing some of the pine needles out of the way. So now I'm happy with that. I wish it were a little bit more level, but I think I've got some pieces I can correct that with as I transition to the log cabin on top of the log fort. I'm going to set some logs in parallel here, and this is what I'm going to build the top of the fire out of. And just going to go with a smaller one up there, a higher one up there, trying to fill the lows, cut down the highs. That's how you level things out. If I were better at this YouTubing, I'd be telling a really good down-home story while I did this about how my mama used to cook over a campfire just like this every day, but she did not. She cooked over a gas stove inside. It's a lot easier to cook over a gas stove. All right, so that's the main structure of the fire. Now I'm going to just ball up a bunch of newspaper and toss it in. The newspaper, we're gonna add kerosene in the end, and we do have kindling, but when we're building this for a program, like a closing chapel, or a Littleman J ceremony, or an opening ceremony on a Saturday night here at camp, whoever's starting the fire, they want that fire to light the first time, no questions asked. And we cannot add too many things to help them. Well, okay, you could add too many things, like if we had some black powder in here, that would not be helpful to them. It might be entertaining, but not helpful. And put a bunch of balls of newspaper in there. Then I'm gonna take a pile of this kindling that I got earlier, that I mentioned. It's broken down into about 6 to 10 inch length segments, maybe a little longer than that. I'm just gonna fill the inside of this up with that kindling. Nice big pile of it. Great. Now I think I've got some kind of bigger chunk, just little chunks of fuel wood. I'm gonna shove these in on top of the kindling. So the smaller stuff like the kindling will burn nice and hot, and it'll light these chunks on fire, and hopefully that'll add a little bit of flame in the middle of our fire as it goes. And then I'm just gonna add a little cap piece to it. When built correctly, this fire, as it burns, should collapse in on itself rather than flop over the side and catch the forest floor on fire. I'm actually, after this, I'm gonna ask one of our support staff members to come out here with a leaf blower and blow the pine needles out from around here. Most of our campfire rings are in the middle of like green grass, which is not as ready to start a forest fire as all these dry pine needles under these dry pine trees are. So we're gonna do that just to make sure we're safer. To cap things off, I'm gonna put a tarp over this. Even if there's no rain in the forecast, it's just a helpful thing for me to do, just to make sure that any unexpected rain is not going to destroy my good work here. I'm going to grab some chunks of wood to hold it down. All right. Next, I've also got a bottle of kerosene. I'm just going to slip under the tarp here. Hopefully it'll be obvious where it is, so that the person starting the fire can find it quickly and easily. If I were more polite, I'd also have a little pack of matches that I'd include with it. But I think Ethan's gonna be starting this fire. He's got matches with him. And then finally, because this is a remote location that no hose can get to, I'm gonna leave it with a couple gallons of water, and I'll put it around here behind the tree, so it's out of sight of the campers. So those buckets after the trailer ride here, they're about half full, but you know, that should be sufficient water to put the fire out. If not, whoever's putting it out can take those buckets down to the creek and film the rest of the way up. That's building a not so campy campfire the Camp Susque way. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.
Alright fellas, like I said, we're going to try to bring it down energy-wise, kind of get a little bit serious. And back to the pavilion.
I had some friends here helping me film, and you know, the hardest way to build a campfire is with people watching you. So I'm glad I didn't have to light it. Hopefully it lights just fine for Ethan or Peter or whomever has to light it later. This has been your bonus footage. Bye-bye.